In this video, we're going to work on solving equations that are adding and subtracting like terms. And so this first one says that x equals 2/7 plus 1/7. And so this one, x is already isolated, it's already by itself, and I just have to do 2 plus 1, which is 3, and keep my denominator. This answer is in simplest form, and it's not an improper fraction, so it's good to go. X is equal to 3/7. On this next one, I've got m minus 1/8 equals 5/8. And I know that when I see subtraction, the inverse of subtraction is adding 1/8. So in order to isolate m or get m by itself, I have to add 1/8 to both sides. Negative 1/8 and positive 1/8 cancel out, and I'm just left with m equals. My variable is now isolated. And 5/8 plus 1/8, 5 plus 1 is 6, and I keep my denominator. I do have to always reduce, and now I know that 2 goes into both 6 and 8, so I'm going to divide top and bottom by 2, and when I do that, I get 3/4. So for this one, m equals 3/4. Remember that when you are solving equations, you can always plug back in to make sure that your answer makes sense. I know that 6/8 minus 1/8 is 5/8, and I do know that 6/8 reduces to 3/4, so m equals 3/4 makes sense. These last two I would challenge you to try on your own. Pause the video and then check to see if you got them correct. So here, when we see adding, the inverse of adding is subtracting. And if I do it to one side, then I have to do it to the other. So I'm going to subtract 9/12 here. Positive 9/12 minus 9/12 is 0, so I get n equals. Here I've got 3/12 minus 9/12, so I'm going to have to use my copy, change. And now I've got adding with different signs. When I've got different signs, I subtract. 9 minus 3 is 6. Keep my denominator of 12. And I keep the sign of the higher number. In this case, that's a negative 9. So n equals negative 6/12. I'm not quite done yet because I do have to reduce. I'm asking myself, is there a number that goes into 6 and 12? And I know that that number is 6. So I'm going to divide top and bottom by 6. And when I do that, I get 1/2. Keep my negative sign, so n is equal to negative 1/2. And then on this last one, y minus 4/15 equals negative 22/15. When I see subtraction, I need to add. So I'm going to add positive 4/15 to both sides. These two cancel out, and y is equal to a negative plus a positive means I subtract. 22 minus 4 is 18. Keep the sign of the higher number, which is negative. And then I always keep my denominator. So y equals negative 18/15. I do need to reduce my answer because 3 goes into both of them. So I'm going to divide top and bottom by 3. And when I do that, I get negative 18 divided by 3 is negative 6. And 15 divided by 3 is 5. So y equals negative 6/5. On this one, I still have an improper fraction that needs to be converted to a mixed number. So I know that 5 goes into 6 once, so that's my whole number. And it has a remainder of 1, so that means that there's 1/5 left. I bring the negative over, and my final answer here is y equals negative 1 and 1/5.